That's really nice. That's a beauty.
Hey everybody, Keith Dotson here in the small town of Bartow, Georgia. We're here to explore and photograph the abandoned downtown. It looks like a ghost town, but as you saw coming into town, people still live here. There goes Teena on her merry way to make some video, and on this trip she's also beginning to learn photography. Later in the video, we'll talk to her about that and see some of her photos from this location. I felt myself drawn to these collapsing structures and the trees along the street behind the Main Street buildings. This is appropriately called Back Street, and the main street around the other side, the front of the buildings, is called Railroad Avenue. According to the National Register of Historic Places, this row of buildings was once home to businesses that catered to the African American community from Bartow, while the big stores on Railroad Avenue were operated for white customers. Remember, we're in the Deep South here, and this goes back to the time period of the Jim Crow laws when things were racially segregated. But on the upside, though, the backstreet businesses not only sold to black customers, but they were operated by black business owners as well.
Kitty, kitty.
That rusty old sign says Ward's Orange Crush. Orange Crush was invented in 1906 and formed into a company in 1911. The word crush refers to the process of crushing the orange to extract the oils. I'll bet that sign could easily date back to the 1920s or the 1930s. It seems they didn't use the Ward's part of the name for very long in their ads. It's still sold in the U.S. as crushed soda in a variety of flavors. Down there where the white pickup truck sits, that was a large livery barn from the early 1900s. The National Register of Historic Places calls it rare. It's a real throwback to the old days pre-automobile. Here's a look at my new road trip wheels. This was its maiden voyage, and we drove from Nashville to Atlanta to Columbus, Georgia, and across the state to Savannah, then to Charleston, and back home again. I shot thousands of photographs and several hours of video footage. Okay, let's go see what the rest of downtown Bartow holds for us. You're literally seeing this with me as I see it for the first time. Over there is a convenience store and a gas station. There's the abandoned old part of downtown. Let's go check this out first. That's a post office on the right, still in operation. Thanks to the date on the building, we can see that it's a bank on the right, built in 1900. This was a cotton-based economy, and in the 1920s and 1930s, cotton prices collapsed as local farmers had to deal with bad weather and a plague of boll weevils on their crops. The bank was left holding a lot of worthless loans, and it closed permanently in 1926. Next to the bank is a one-story brick commercial building that housed the Bartow post office from the 1910s through the 1920s, and later was occupied by an accounting firm and a barber shop. It appears to me that the front may not be original. You can see in the outline of the tile work where the tall wooden bank teller windows would have been. Okay, y'all, let's go check out the long stretch of abandoned buildings we came here for. The National Register says these buildings were built between 1900 and the 1920s. The population of Bartow as of 2020 census was 186 people, the lowest ever since 1880. Population peaked in the 1920s at 582 people. The community grew because of the railroad lines coming through. This last two-story red brick building was built in 1918 for C.S. Bryant. It was a commercial block with 4 storefronts. The National Register for Historic Places says this about the building, and I'm quoting, "The building is an excellent, intact example of a historic commercial building and retains its recessed entry doors, wide transoms over the storefronts, and decorative brickwork. The building also retains its historic awning with a rounded arch over each storefront entrance. The C.S. Bryant building originally functioned as a general mercantile store and housed the Bartow post office from the 1930s to the 1960s. The office of Dr. Verlin Bryant, a general practice physician, was also located in the building." End quote. By the way, I'll include links to my sources in the show notes and on my blog at iCatchShadows.com. That looks like an old record player or maybe a jukebox. It's coin operated. Symphanola brand? This must have been some kind of an arcade or a game room. It has old pinball machines and a pool table. All look like they've been destroyed. Oh, that's pretty cool. A December 9th, 1920 ad for the C.S. Bryant store that once operated in this space. However, online I found another newspaper clipping dated 1922, where this very same store was auctioning off all hardware, furniture, undertaking goods, groceries, shoes, dry goods, notions, and millinery fixtures by court order as part of bankruptcy proceedings. But that list gives a good idea of what they sold in the store. By the way, Bryant also owned all those big metal warehouses and gins that we stopped to shoot at the very beginning of the video. The train depot was built in 1859 for the Central of Georgia Railroad line. These tracks are still active. From here, you can see the close relationship of the town to the railroad. By the way, the name Bartow comes from a Confederate general who was also responsible for implementation of the signature gray uniforms for the Southern soldiers. On the other side of the historic depot is another shorter commercial street, which is better maintained and still in use. Bartow had a catastrophic fire in the 1880s, and as a result, the town passed a law that new construction must be in brick, and you can see those brick buildings here. Check out these amazing old screen doors advertising Sunbeam bread. The brand was launched in 1942, so these doors would date sometime after that. Let's check in with Teena and see how her first outing as a photographer went. So tell me what you think about Bartow, Georgia.
Awesome. It's got a lot of abandoned stuff, and it smells
Yeah.
very old and abandoned.
I was just going to say, as we're standing here, I'm just getting that smell of rotten stuff.
Yeah, it's all this wood that's rotten, clothes, everything inside. If you stand over there under those grates, it's a nice cool breeze coming out, but then you smell all the stench of the decaying things.
Why are you waving your hand by your face?
So many gnats everywhere.
Yeah, Georgia is like the
everywhere.
most
Do you see
gnattiest place I've ever seen. I don't see them right now, but I have seen them all around me.
Well, they're
And I
literally
put-
all around you right now.
I put mosquito spray on myself, hoping it would keep the gnats
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, they're
You've got a
swarming.
fly on your hat right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
Georgia is
dripping.
very insecty,
Yes, I'm dripping in sweat, so I don't know if that's why they're coming around or
probably.
what. But I hadn't had that much issue like you've had until
Maybe they're
today.
just coming to you because I'm standing here.
That might be it, but
So
yeah.
how's it going with the camera that you're using and learning photography? What are you thinking so far?
Well, I'm trying to keep everything on 8, like you said. What is the F8?
F8.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it automatically adjusts for me, and then I look, and then I set it on 8 before I shoot anything. And trying to get a cat, take a picture of a cat in this backwoods back there through a window. That was pretty cool, just visualizing it before I even took the shot, but I don't know how it turned out.
Well,
And I've had a couple, went exploring in some doorways back there, try to get some stuff. And then, of course, this is a wide angle, so I took pictures of the back of the building. I need to put the other one on so I can get closer. But
yeah, that's my old Canon 5D Mark III that I used for years. That was my main camera.
it's nice. It's heavy.
It is heavy.
And I can tell that my back is starting to get sore, my lower back, from just having this on my neck
Yeah.
or holding it. I'm not used to that. But this is a really cool place. I went up and down, filmed through the windows, took some shots with the camera, went through this depot over here, took some video of the train, and I went into this park here, and it told the history of the town and connection to the Revolutionary War and Civil War, things like that. And
Yeah, this is a cool place because it's one of those towns where nobody really bothers you. I did have one lady, the post office is right down at the end there. It's still a working post office. This says post office, and it says 1920s Museum. I don't know when the last time this was a post office, but the working post office is down there. And a lady asked me what I'm doing here in a friendly way, not in a suspicious way. And I told her we're just taking pictures. And she said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Nashville." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she got in her car and went on about her business. But I love it when we can come and explore a place like this and nobody bothers us.
I could hear her when I was in the little park over there.
Yeah.
She sounded very friendly. Most people here are very friendly.
It's clouding up, which is good, but it's also probably at least 1 o'clock in the afternoon or maybe later, and we haven't had anything to eat yet, so I think we're going to go find some lunch, I hope.
And some cool air.
I hope our lunch doesn't have to come from that convenience store that's right over there, but I haven't seen anything else.
There's not much else in this area, but according to the map, there should be something on the exterior part of this area. So I love the railroad tracks too. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You look down, you can see, and there's this really cool house, White House on the other side. We got some video of that, and it's nice.
Good.
Wouldn't mind going and exploring that, but I think somebody actually lives there.
All right, let's go
Okay.
find some
Let's go
food.
get some good food.
Here are some of the photos that Teena shot in Bartow. Luckily, we didn't have to eat at the convenience store, but after getting back on the road, we stopped at one more location before finding this restaurant at a crossroads in the middle of farm fields near Millen, Georgia. The place was pretty basic, but the food was pretty good. Although, the facilities were very rustic. And just so I don't have to end this video with a men's room clip, here's a short clip of a cemetery we found soon after we ate lunch, followed by stormy weather we drove through right after the cemetery. Hope you enjoyed seeing these abandoned places in this small town in Georgia. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my website at keithdotson.com.